Shabbat Shalom. I apologize if there are bags under my eyes. Let me explain. You see, my beloved 4.5-year-old this week decided that at 3:30 every morning, that's a good time to start doing somersaults in our bed. And that would be okay, except we recently got a puppy who sleeps in a crate in our bedroom. And so by doing somersaults in our bed, that's woken up the puppy. And that wakes up our 10-year-olds. Our 7-year-old will sleep through, an earthquake. He's fine. But none of us have slept in several days. And when I sat down with Hannah, our 4.5-year-old, I said, why do you keep waking up in the middle of the night? I thought we were past this. And why do you think that's the right time to do somersaults in my bed? She smiled and said, well, I'm just a kid. I have to learn. I promise there's a point to the story, besides it just being really cute. Because it's very hard to stay mad at a 4.5-year-old when they respond like that. My son Noah came home from school, from Goldak Academy yesterday, and every Friday they do their Parsha study, and he couldn't believe, he said, Abba, did you know that when God created Adam and Eve, we're going to get into, we're looking at the shot of the text right now, the literal meaning. But he said, when God created Adam and Eve, God created them as grown-ups. I said, yeah, I know. And he said, man, they must have missed out on all the fun. And it really got me thinking that without the experiences of childhood, you really don't know how to live your life as an adult. We learn from the shoulders of those who we stand on, those who have come before us. And sometimes we learn what we should do. Sometimes we learn from that what we shouldn't do. But we learn from our experiences throughout our lives. And he's pretty spot on. How could God expect that literally does not create a yeled, does not create a na'ar, but an adolescent who lives for making mistakes, says that God blew into the nostrils and breathed life, nishmat chayim, vehi ha'adam lenefesh chaya. And all of a sudden, not just a human, that the grown adult man lived. And then, what follows? So quickly, Adam and Chava are kicked out of the Garden of Eden. Of course, the one rule that they are told to follow, they can't follow. Because they're 4.5-year-olds who like to do somersaults in their parents' beds in the middle of the night. They're brand new to life and living and life experiences. The beauty of the month that we are about to complete, the month of Tishrei, is it demands of us ritually to make an effort to be better. But it also forces us to acknowledge that we keep making mistakes. On Yom Kippur, we begin not by saying sorry, but we begin by saying, God, just to give you a heads up, we're going to break lots of promises in the year ahead, even when you give us a fresh start and clean slate. And we stand for like an hour for Ne'ilah as the gates of heaven are closing, and we continue to say sorry throughout Sukkot until Hoshana Rabbah, because we know that the sorries that we said were not good enough, and some have the custom, actually, this is a tangent for another time, but because Hanukkah, the first Hanukkah celebration, was a delayed Sukkot, there's rabbinic commentary that says actually the act of tshuva that we do during the month of Tishrei should continue through the end of Kislev until the end of Hanukkah. Essentially, we are saying sorry all the time. And every weekday, 3 times a day, we still bang our chests. Salach lanu avinu ki chatanu, machal lanu malkeinu ki fashanu. Forgive us, for we have sinned. Pardon us, for we have transgressed. We, as adults, who have, in theory, but clearly not ritually or liturgically, have in theory learned from our mistakes. We have learned what our parents and grandparents have taught us, and now we're supposed to be. And God quickly realizes that God made a mistake. Not that Adam and Chava were mistakes, but creating humanity in adulthood. Not bringing life into this world as babies, as children who see the blessings of this world without yet being shaded or blinded by the darkness, the chaos of this world. To only experience God's blessings. And as a result, to feel like so many kids do, like you are invincible. As an adult, we can't do that anymore. As an adult, we have responsibility to ourselves, to another person, to a spouse or partner. When we are blessed to live long enough to see our children and grandchildren live full lives and start to live their lives as adulthood. That is why the second time around, which we don't really focus on, God creates the world anew. Next Shabbat, we read the story of the Mabul, of the flood of Noah, and we think of this as a theological complication. Right? God gets upset at the evil in the world, so God wipes out the world, everybody except for Noah and Noah's family. But what's going on here is actually a second creation story, this time starting this world and humanity with people who have lived full lives, with people who have learned from their mistakes, with people who have grown up as children and experienced God's blessings all around them. Not somebody who has walked on earth for the first time and doesn't know right from left, right from wrong, good from evil. Our Parsha ends by saying that Adam lives until 930 years old. Later, Methuselah, who is the longest living character in the entire Torah, we're told lived until 969 years old. We say Ad Mea Be'esrim, right? We're hoping to make it to 120 like Moshe. But the Parsha ends with these full lives as a reminder that Adam and Eve never got to live full lives. And without those experiences, the experiences that come before taking responsibility, then we can't learn from them as we go forward to take responsibility. In a few moments, we'll do Birkat HaChodesh, the blessing for the new month of Cheshvan, which our rabbis refer to as Mar Cheshvan, a bitter month. Rabbis today don't call it Mar Cheshvan. But a bitter month because there are no holidays. But that's actually incorrect. It's a bitter month because we assume that the beauty of Tishrei, of being able to start over again, to learn from our mistakes and grow from them, is no more. And yet, and this is where Adam and Eve got it wrong, they assumed because they didn't have the lessons of childhood that they still couldn't learn and grow. But we know that each and every day we have the opportunity to learn from our mistakes. Each and every day we are born restored with a pure soul, as we say, Elohai Neshama Shenatata Bi Tahorahi. And each and every day we're left with the question, what do we do with the responsibility that we have? What do we do standing on the shoulders of those who have come before us with the lessons and values that have been instilled into us? Without any of that, you're going to eat the forbidden fruit. But if we've been blessed to have those lessons instilled within us, then we are left asking the question, what now? What do we do with those life lessons? We instill them in our own children, God willing, their children, but it also is a part of our each and every one of our daily lives. that was true when the world began again in that post-flood era, that is true each and every day that we wake up. So while we celebrate that, at least theologically, the beauty of the idea that we are all made in God's image, that we all come from Adam and Eve, it's a beautiful concept that all humanity is connected. Let us learn from their mistakes as well of our ancestors, because we've lived lives, we have had the opportunity to learn from right and wrong, to grow, to make mistakes. And as we continue to make mistakes, because that's part of life, may we never plead ignorance. Instead, may we be committed to continuing to grow going forward. Amen.